My people, welcome back to your favorite Today music film with the one and only Wesley MacInnes. Wes Mack in the house, my people. Stay tuned. All right, my people, thank you so much. Wes, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Wes Mack, but Wesley MacInnes.
Birth name Wesley MacInnes.
Yes.
Difficult to spell. I played one solo show as a musician with that, and it was spelled really badly. So I was like, okay, stage name. Gotta do that. So
Yeah,
Wes
it's a
Mack.
great stage name, Wes Mack. It's so simple.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like the ladies must love it.
I've been asked a lot. The rationale was just as short as possible. Easy
Yeah.
to say.
Nice, nice. So, Power Rangers. You're in the new Power Rangers movie.
Yeah.
And so tell us the story about Power Rangers, in case some people out there don't even know about Power Rangers.
Whole
What is
story.
it about? Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Well, I mean, in 1993, the series came out. They took a bunch of Japanese footage and basically realized, like, okay, we have all these sweet battle sequences. Let's just reshoot the North American like actor components, sew it together, and make a ton of money and like make a series that, personally, for me as a kid, was like one of my favorite TV shows. In fact, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I was in the Power Rangers club at school, so it was like it's a pretty big deal. But yeah, now obviously they've this is like the reboot of the franchise kind of thing. They're doing the original like story, but now in 2017 as like a feature film, and I was lucky enough to be part of it.
wow. So how is it as a kid to have it as one of your favorite movies and to be in the club, and then you're grown up and you're doing it?
It was really cool getting to get, like, I mean, I had all the toys when I was a kid, you know, I was always battling, and that, like, the Power Rangers club that I was in as a 7-year-old was not run by teachers or anything. This was like, to get into it, you had to like push a brick in on a wall, and it was very like, we were all battling each other on, so anyways, skipping forward, it was kind of surreal to get cast in. It was just a lot of fun to work on. I mean, I play a bully in it, so I would have hated my character as a child because I'm just terrible to the Power Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But it's always great when you get to play someone that you wouldn't be in real life.
Oh,
you know,
totally.
that's the fun of it.
That's like one of the main reasons I like acting. You just get to try on different hats and like pick up different skills along the way.
Nice. So what does your character do, and like what was the whole experience of shooting the movie?
I mean, I'm largely there to serve Billy, the Blue Ranger's like character arc kind of thing. He's, you know, he doesn't really fit in kind of thing. They play him as a character who's on like the autism spectrum, and so my character is awful and is like, you know, is harassing him in school. And it's, you know, as he becomes a ranger, he's able to sort of battle back, and I just comedically get bashed around for the rest of the film. But again, it was really fun to, like, as much as you know you're playing an awful person, you don't come into it with that mindset. You know, you have to come into it as though, like, within your own story, you're the good guy, you know? So you come up with a reason that you don't like this guy and you push at him, and that becomes fun because now you're pushing another actor's buttons and you see what they do.
And do you have the same look, or do you have to go through like a look change?
I'm playing a high school student in that, which I find funny. So it's a very close shave. I think my hair was really long for it, which it is actually again now too. I'm working on hard powder right now, which is why it's hidden under a toque, because it's a mess. But yeah, no significant. I mean, I guess I was wearing like jean cutoff shorts, denim cutoff shorts at the time, so it was an interesting look.
So does it make you feel young? And younger always and forever young? Because is it like a second chance at being in high school?
Well, I mean, second chance to be the worst guy in high school. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it necessarily it doesn't make me feel younger or older. It's just, you know, you go in like, the funny thing about working on a film like that is if you're working on Power Rangers or if you're working on your first student film ever, the actual on-set experience isn't usually that much different. I mean, on the days where there's big special effects, maybe, but like, other than that, there's a camera, there's a few people standing around, and you have your job to do. I mean, I started off as an actor in theater kind of thing. So there's, you take away the cameras, but it's still the same thing. It's just you and me, and the flash of the rest of that.
You and I.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my goodness. All right, well, okay, so you got. Well, all right. You can laugh. Grammatical errors. I was the bully. Come on, I'm not supposed to be that smart.
So, where are you shooting this film?
Hard Powder. Right. So I was filming on that largely out in Alberta, up on Fortress Mountain, and I think I have a little bit more filming to do here in Vancouver. I'm not sure how far into. They're about halfway through production right now.
What about the Power Rangers?
Oh, where for Power Rangers?
Yeah.
That was shot all over the place in Vancouver. There was a couple of different locations and a little bit out of town, and then we shot some of it up in Kamloops as well.
How amazing is it that you're in Vancouver and you get to shoot this movie, which is such a huge international, it's not just Canadian people that love this. It's so huge, but you get to shoot it in your own,
Get to wake up in my own bed in the morning and go to work and do that. Yeah, actually, I filmed it on my birthday last year. It was cool. I was, your birthday time, you reflect a lot, and I was like, wow. 7-year-old version of myself would be just like losing.
Which day is your birthday?
March 15th.
Oh, so. How lucky.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's like a dream. They say like people who are born in March are always dreaming.
Yeah.
Maybe you have been dreaming about that?
Probably, a lot of Power Rangers related dreams. I had the Megazord toy. That was key. Just laughing it all up now.
Anybody annoy you on set? Or you wouldn't say it?
They may annoy me on set. Yeah, I don't know if you really get to, I mean, overall, it was like a really positive experience on it. I had to throw a lot of punches in it, so if anything, I was just annoyed at, the funny thing about throwing punches when you don't hit anything, which is what my character does a lot in this, he's trying to punch the Red Ranger and I can't ever hit him, is if you throw a lot of punches and you don't connect with something, it hurts you far more. You're throwing as hard as you can, you stretch your back out. So I remember by the end of my birthday, I was like, ugh, I'm getting old. But yeah, no complaints with any of the people.
Oh, so it's always better when you're fighting to actually have someone.
Yeah, you want to hit something.
Yeah.
I ended up doing a lot of stunts on this. There's a scene where I'm diving into the back, I come at full tilt, running away from one of the putty patrollers. It's this big concrete monster. I'm diving into the back seat of a convertible, and there's no stunt guy on that. That's just me going full tilt and doing a somersault in the air into the back of a car. I smashed up my back really badly doing that. It's for love of the Rangers.
All right, I'll check your back after the break, my people. I'm just going to take a short break and check his back. U&I Talk Show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. My people, we're back with the one and only Wes Mack. Oh, I love the Wes Mack part. I just love it.
You just say that all day. It's very satisfying.
I know.
That's what I hope.
It's so great to say it.
It's good that you're not
Wes
telling me
Mack.
it's really irritating.
No, it's really nice, which is going to bring me into your music. Love your music. And I wish I was a musician as well.
We can get a guitar in here. I can teach you a couple of chords.
Oh, nice.
I think once you know 3 chords, you're halfway there.
And you know what? The guitar is one of those things that I've always wanted to know how to play. So how did you become a musician,
It's kind of runs in the family. My dad has played in a band his entire life. Back in the 1960s, they had a #1 hit in Canada. The band was called the Sugar and Spice. The song was called The Cruel War. So when I was 11 or something like that, he taught me how to play guitar. And then, when I was 13, I started my first band, and that's kind of been the story of my life ever since.
Wow, very nice, very nice. Because they always say that it's always better when you start as a child.
Yeah, it definitely, you have less other time constraints. Your brain is a little bit more of a sponge.
And then if your parents are into it, then they don't have to go and you don't have to fight it. Like
Totally.
some parents are not even,
Yeah.
cool with their kids doing music.
A lot of my friends would either be, parents didn't want them to do music, or they would push them really hard, to take piano lessons. And I feel like that's the wrong way to go about it. It's something, if you're interested in it, great. If not, you don't need to be.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of big dreams did you have? Because you've done so well in music. You've been on tour. You've opened for Shania Twain.
Mm-hmm.
How is that?
That's probably career-wise, the coolest thing that's ever happened in my life. Getting to stand up there. I remember playing Rogers Arena here in town, playing Party for Two there. I got to sing it with her, and it was that. I don't like to throw around surreal a ton, but that was kind of surreal where I clocked in. Actually, we did the show in Seattle first, and I remember we were playing it, and this is the second time I'd ever sang it with her. There was one rehearsal, and then we were up on stage, and I was standing there just like pretty stiff, and she looked over at me, and this is like on the microphone to the whole crowd, and she goes, "Wes, get a little closer to me," and put her arm around me. I was like, "Oh, what's going on? This is insane." Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was terrifying for the first like 2 or 3 shows, and then it was a lot of fun.
Wow. Is she someone that you grew up watching, and then like, did it ever come in your mind, you know, like whose idea was it for you to be working with her?
You know, to this day, I don't know how that was fully orchestrated. You know, honestly, I got a call from my manager and just said that they had asked to have us be their like opening act for the Canadian leg of the tour and a little bit of the States. And I tried asking around for ages as to like, who pulled that string? Who made that happen? And everyone was always, my label and manager, they were always like, oh, we don't know. Like, maybe it was them. They just.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was, again, I was really fortunate.
I think you can be confident in your music, because, you know, when someone hears the music and discovers the music and they love the music for the music itself, then there's a possibility of other things happening, you know?
Totally. And I think that, like, from the creative side, that's all you can do. Like, you can try and play the political side of that a lot, and with some success perhaps, but you got to focus on, you know, as a musician, you got to make music. As an actor, you got to act. You know, as a director, you need to direct. And if you make good work, hopefully good things will open up in front of you.
Nice. So you currently have an album dropping?
I'm working on it. I've been working on it for the last, year and a half. My debut record took years to make, and some of that is, stops and starts of the music business, and some of that is the creative process. I just didn't want to rush out album 2, so we finished the Shania tour and had singles out and did a lot of touring. And this last year I've just kind of dedicated to doing a lot of writing and recording demos, and I feel this is the strongest batch of music I've ever put together. So now it's just a matter of I'm getting in the studio in the next month and recording the final versions of a bunch of these. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I should probably have a new single out this year and an album at some point after that.
Very nice. So do you sometimes get the pressure and get deadlines and you have to have, at this point of life, and then you're there well, the song is not popping in my head.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
I mean, so I procrastinate terribly, and work deadlines are the thing that make me actually, do things. But I work well under pressure typically on those. When I'm down to a crunch, that's typically when I will generate the best stuff. So as long as that doesn't fail for me, should be good.
Nice. Are you composing your own music?
Yeah, I mean, everything on this new album, I write on pretty much all the songs that were co-written, where I will go and sit down with 1 or 2 other people and write the songs. I started doing that maybe 5 years ago, and that was a real game changer. Most of the artists I know don't write a ton on their own anymore. It's such a cool process when you have other minds in the room, because you kind of get the best pieces of each. I can go write a song on my own, and I always say it's a very Wes song now. It has certain pitfalls that I fall into, that I have things that I'm good at and things that I don't think I'm as good at. And it's really nice when you mix that with other writers, and I think usually you kind of get the best of all 3 or 4 or however many people's worlds. Mm-hmm.
So first you start on your own and you do your thing, and then you bring it to others?
I mean, it changes. Sometimes I'll bring a fairly fully fleshed out idea into the room and say, hey guys, this is what I want to do. Let's work with this, and tear it apart a little bit and change it. And sometimes it's kind of opposite of I'll take an idea from someone I'm writing with, or maybe you come up with something entirely in the room. I like to go in and you kind of write the room, and you see what happened to them that day. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because if everybody's not all on the same page, the song's going to feel like a Frankenstein monster kind of coming together.
Very nice. So is there a particular place that inspires you, and when you're in that zone, that's when you're okay, sounds and words are popping up?
I like long walks on the beach. I mean, living in Vancouver, I get to do that a fair bit. I live pretty close to Jericho Beach, and so I try and get down there as often as possible. I didn't grow up near the ocean, so the novelty of that's never really worn off. Yeah, I like staring out at that. You feel very small there, in a good way. It's a nice grounding effect. So I like that for songwriting. However, a lot of ideas for songs come to you at weird times. I find it's when you're busy doing other things, like when you're driving a car, when you're actually in the middle of something else. That's when you get ideas, and it's very irritating at the time because then you need to be like, okay, stop everything. I need to get my phone out, make a little voice memo, and every musician I know has like thousands of these terrible voice memos.
At the
The
wrong
ones you wake
time.
up in the middle of the night and you go like, mustard, mayonnaise, it's a party, and you think it's the greatest idea you've ever had, and then you listen to it in the morning and you hear that, and you think, oh Lord, I hope no one ever hears that. This is terrible.
All right, we got to take a short break and then we'll come back and keep talking about it, my people. I Talk Show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. All right, my people, we're back. So you were born in Calgary,
Yes, it was.
Cowtown. We call
Yeah.
it Cowtown.
Yep. Love it. Born and raised.
When you were growing up, did you like do any cowboy things or like? Well, how was your growing up?
So I grew up right on the edge of the city. So there were tons of like horses and cattle around, like in very close range. Like you could probably throw a rock from my house and hit them. I didn't ever do that, but yeah. In terms of like cowboy things, I don't know. There's probably tons of photos of me as a child wearing cowboy boots, sitting in the back of a truck with like all denim on. So I mean, that's just like it's par for the course for the '90s living in Calgary.
Nice. And then you're shooting a movie in Calgary with one of the world's biggest star, Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
How is that project?
So we were working on that again up on Fortress Mountain in the Kananaskis, which is where like they shot The Revenant and Inception and that kind of stuff. That's been kind of similar to the Shania Twain experience, and that getting there and meeting Liam. He's just like a prince of a fellow, really laid back guy.
Does he have that accent?
He's got the accent, but it's funny because he turns it on though all of a sudden. So you get the super laid back guy. He's chatting with everybody, like most approachable guy. Like I really couldn't speak more highly of him. And then you go to film with him, and I can't say a ton about the film, but I'm in a very confrontational couple scenes there with him. And he is very intense, and he's like 6'4", and when that guy comes at you and is staring at you and yelling at you, it's terrifying. Wow. It's completely terrifying. Wow. You fear for your life.
Oh my goodness. So how is it to be in your hometown and then now you're back filming with like all these big stars? Because he's not the only one who's in this. You have Laura Dern in this, Tom Jackson.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's the cast on it is actually, I was talking about the other day with some of the crew. It's this really eclectic, people of all kinds of different acting backgrounds. There's a bunch of like people with musical talents and other artistic talents on there. It's an interesting, again, I can't say a ton about it, but when I read the script, I had one idea in my mind of sort of how it would probably be cast, and it is nothing like that, and it's really cool in that sense. It's like got a bigger scope because I just have a lot of really character actors playing all these weird personalities. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this. This is not the elevator pitch, don't worry. But yeah, it's great. It's hard powder.
Very nice, very nice. So when you're you're still so young, you're in high school, Let's remember you're in high school.
On Rangers, yeah. Don't tell me I'm in high school. No, that's like, do you ever have that recurring like a nightmare where you have like one exam left? I'll have it about either high school or about university that I have one exam left, and it's been years, and they're like, yeah, you still have to come and write the exam. It's like, well, I don't know how to do any of that stuff anymore. I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're terrifying. And I think everybody gets them. I feel like it's a comment on the education system.
Yeah.
It's like drilled something all into us. Like, it's gonna get you. Be afraid.
Very afraid. Mm-hmm. But when you're so young and then you're playing like versus Liam Neeson, an actor who's had so many years into the business, who has so much experience, like how do you feel and what are you learning from him? I
mean, getting to act against him is really a joy because he gives you so much. He's not phoning it in. Like there's a reason, like Liam Neeson is certainly a very famous guy, but more impressive to me is he's a very, very good actor. And so when, in scenes with him, it's a challenge in that like, you're pushed harder to do more, to do better, but it's fun, it's like he's giving you a ton. He's, like I said, you don't have to act much when Liam Neeson's yelling at you, you're scared. You know? He's like 6'4", a lot of reach.
Yeah. Do you do any like young actor stuff and ask him for advice?
No, I mean, like, when we were shooting this stuff, kind of similar to what I said for Rangers, like, at the end of the day, it's not about him being Liam Neeson there. It's like, I'm still trying to do the best version of my work. So, you know, the stuff that we were filming, I wasn't particularly chatty with him between takes, because it's fairly confrontational. We're both there to do our thing. Yeah, not really looking for tips and pictures with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that would be.
No, he would probably be cool with it. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Fair.
So when is it coming out? When can people expect
I don't actually know when Herd Powder's out. I would bet within the next year, but that's just one of those things I'm making up right now. But that seems fairly reasonable.
Nice.
You can almost quote me on it.
You have like 1 year to prepare.
Yeah.
For the coming out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the same kind of deal. Like, you know, we shot Rangers. It came out basically a full year to the day after when I was working on it, and that's usually a kind of par for the course for that stuff, you know.
So while you're waiting for it, are you like nervous or are you like?
No, I mean, like, at that point, I've done everything. Like, so the difference between, I find, like, with acting and music is on the music side of things. If I go and create an album, I am also responsible for then really like promoting it and getting it out there and touring it. And there's still a lot to do. Whereas, you know, with acting, I do all of my work on set, we film it, and at the end of the day, I mean, I can, you know, come and chat with you about it here after, but there's nothing I can do to affect that film, really.
True.
So, you know, I've got a little bit more filming to do on it, so I'm still thinking about that. But once that's done, you know, I'll either think I did a good job or a bad job or an okay job, and then leave it at that.
We'll see it. All right, let's take a short break and come into our last segment, my people. U&I Talk Show with Louise UWACU. We love you, the authors, the musicians, the comedians, the entrepreneurs, and all other talented and inspiring people. Please contact info@uwacu.com to be a guest on the show. All right, my people, we're back with WES MACK.
You're loving that name. You're going to say that every time.
I love it.
I'm cool with it too. You know, it's nice. It's like my ego over here. I'm hiding it behind the chair.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So music and film, those are two great things. I can't ask you if you have any favorite or like what's your favorite thing to do?
Yeah, I mean, I always just say they're different, you know. I've been playing music probably a lot longer than I've been acting, and I do a fair bit of directing as well, but so, you know, sort of film side, music side, yeah, very different. I just like having different creative outlets at the end of the day. I like making stuff.
And then you've been in so many other projects, iZombie, the 100 Supernatural, even the J.K. Rowling story.
Oh, yeah. To try on my British accent and that, and basically play Ron Weasley. So that was fun.
What kind of project are you looking for? Like, what's your ideal? Do you still have like dream projects that you really want to have?
Yeah, I mean, there's like books I've read at various points in time where, you know, I'll say, oh, it'd be great if this was ever made into a film to be involved in it. But like, at the end of the day, I don't have any like, you know, set dream project. Like, I've got to be in that film at some point. If I could convince them to let me into one of the Star Wars films, that would be cool. It'd be just one more like childhood box to tick off. But like, it's a lot of the ones that you find are unexpected. Like getting to shoot on Power Rangers or Hard Powder or something like that. I wouldn't have flagged those as like, that's the thing I've got to do, but I've had an excellent time working on those. So I like the unpredictability a little bit of this, that like, you know, you get thrown new curveballs, and some of the best projects that will probably ever exist haven't been conceived yet, right? So I mean, you know, you're waiting for those awesome accidental surprises in life.
Exactly. So you have a lot of young kids looking up to you, and they really they would love to do what you're doing. You have so many fans. What would be your advice in terms of film and then in terms of music?
Yeah, if kind of what I said before, like focus on the thing that you want to be doing. Like if you want to make music, really focus on getting good at making music, on writing songs and performing them. I mean, it sounds self-explanatory, but I didn't get that for many years. Like I remember specifically before I had any sort of commercial success in music, I was trying to do, you know, music videos and touring and have merch and do interviews and that kind of stuff. And you realize it's because you're emulating other artists who, you know, kind of have their thing together. But at the core of those other artists, the thing that's at the very core of that is somewhere along the lines they've got really strong songs and have performed them really well. And I feel like once you get click into that, you can grow into those other things. The same for acting or filmmaking. Really focus on the creative thing, which should be the thing that gives you the most joy anyway. So usually is fun to work on. Spend your time on that, and other doors will open. It always sounds like a hokey thing to say, but if you're really good, it's tough to be ignored.
It's very interesting when people say, oh, you have to be focused, because today people are doing so many things. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So the idea of even staying focused is kind of, how does one stay focused?
I mean, so my life kind of applies to that because I do a lot of different things, and maybe I'm not focused enough, who knows? But I would say you kind of got to look at it in chapters or little sections of you don't have to say, I'm just going to be an actor, or just going to be a musician, or just going to be a scientist, or whatever it is that you want to be. But when you're working on that, work on that, even if that's blocking off an hour or a day or a week or something where that's your focus. I think that's where you can achieve that kind of thing. You don't have to say, okay, I'm never going to do those things, but in the moment, if you allow yourself to be really divided, it's difficult to get much done. So, I mean, it's hard. I struggle with that constantly, but picking chunks of time and being this is what we're working on today.
Definitely, definitely. And then to end, what is a mistake that you've made that you would like other people to avoid making? Don't do what?
I perhaps would actually point to what I was saying before, putting the cart before the horse and saying, okay, well, let's say I want to be a musician and I've got a couple of songs that I think are all right, and I'm going to go and try and book an extensive tour and shoot a music video and spend a bunch of money marketing this and da-da-da-da-da. That is a place where myself personally and a lot of people I know has been a pitfall where you'll waste a lot of time and money and probably be kind of upset at the end if it doesn't go the way you want it to. I mean, what do I know? I'm still chipping away at this, so any of this advice could be horribly wrong. But I would say focusing on your creative thing, getting the core of it, getting the acting, getting the music in place first, and then finding the ways to market it and get it out there. That's maybe a mistake that I made early on.
Absolutely. I think I got it. Thank you so much, Wes Mack. All right, my people. So you heard what he says. Whatever is going on around you, focus on what you truly want to do, and something will Wes Mack out of it.
It's a verb now.
Thank you for being here. It's a verb, man, Wes Mack.
I like it. Please, if you want to keep rolling that into other segments, I have no problem.
I love it.